Here we go. Welcome back to Guitars and Cars. Just doing a quick valve cover gasket job on this 3.6 liter Dodge Journey. As many of you probably know, I like this engine. Same engine they put in the Jeep Wranglers. It's a good solid motor. Aside from its a few quirks it has, it's got a great solid bottom end. Just has a couple of key points to look after. Obviously, your oil cooler has some seals at the bottom that can tend to leak. And then, as you can see now, I'm doing the valve covers. Once I get the valve covers off, take a look at the lifters and the cams and see how all that's looking. But just looking into the intake, you can see that this engine doesn't look terrible at all. Looks fairly clean in there, actually. So once we get this oil leak remedied, this engine should be good to go for a while. All right. Make sure our last bolts are loose. And off she goes. Where's that? Cam lobes are good, so that's a plus. Everything's looking good here. Wow, okay, so this back one is a lot harder to get out because it's a lot tighter back here, and you just got a lot of shit in the way, and you got the PCV valve is stuck in there. You got to slide this end up and pull it out, so it's just a lot more difficult in the back, but we did get it. And cam lobes look good for the most part. A little bit of wear on that one, not terrible. And and again, this engine is fairly clean overall, so the timing chains and everything looks pretty good here. So yeah, we're moving right along. Have her begin the process of putting it back together here shortly, and have her back on the road pretty soon. All right, so we're going back together with back valve cover, which was a total pain in the ass, much more so than I remember. But you've got your solenoids in the way on this side, and then you've got your PCV valve that has to come out over here, and you've got a sensor here that has to come out, and then you got all this wiring in the back, plus a couple of studs in the back that like to fall out and drop into places where you don't need them. So, with all that being up under the firewall and all that, just pretty much a pisser. But we got it out. Got the main valve cover seal, the spark plug seals. So basically the hard part's done. The back is done. It's all back in. I'm just buttoning it back up. And then do the front. Much easier, much more accessible, much happier situation there. So you don't have all the extra sensors and crap that you got to deal with. So we're looking good. And I spared everyone on my my newly invented cuss words and all my carrying on. So, but we're back in business. Just need to get everything piped back in, and we'll be rocking and rolling. Okay, here we are playing with our timing sensor seal here. Slap him back in there. I got just the right size of socket to tap him in. Hopefully. Yeah, perfect. And spark plug seals. Okay, good to go there. Okay. Much easier than the back one. Holy cow. Still something being stubborn here. I can feel it. What is it? Something being stubborn. It'll be alright. Socket. Almost cross-threaded it there. Looks good. This middle one. Just kind of cruise back and forth. Try to get them even as possible before I put any real torque on them. And this stuff doesn't need any real torque anyway. It's light material. If you over torque it, you got problems. The main problem with these is just access. Getting your hands into places and being able to see what you're doing. And it's like new cars these days, they just cram as much crap in there as they can. So, but overall, I mean, this engine's not bad to work on once you get to what you're working on. Hard part's just getting to it. So I definitely encourage anyone who is inclined to work on one of these engines. They're not terribly difficult to work on, in my opinion. I have a Jeep Wrangler. This is a 2012 Dodge Journey. The engine's in here sideways, obviously, because it's front-wheel drive, but I have a 2013 Jeep Wrangler that has the same engine, and I need to tear into it as well because it's making valve noise, which these engines are kind of known for. So the lifters start to wear. That's why when I pulled these off, I kind of took a look at the cam lobes and all that, just to make sure everything's in decent shape, and not going to give them any issues anytime soon. So, but all right, this thing likes to hold on to the bolts more than it does my wrench here. So, but we've been at this a couple hours, and honestly, we're almost done, so really not bad. It's gonna be a huge improvement over leaking oil all over the exhaust manifold and creating a smoke show when you go down the road. That's no fun. My Jeep had the same problem when I got it. One of the first things I fixed. But yeah, these valve covers are kind of stupid to get on and off. That's the only thing with this. But once you get past that, it's fine. I should say the rear valve cover. The front one's not bad. So, coils, and then we got our variable valve timing solenoids over here. I gotta make sure you get those plugged in. Get these brackets will tighten up. Make sure all this stuff is secure. And I think I'm gonna plug up these intake holes with some rags and blow this out because there's a bunch of crap debris around it. I just don't want to do it while stuff is exposed because we don't need leaves in the engine. So all right, so this intake's a little crazy. You kind of have to do a little magic trick between getting this to set on the back posts, getting it lined up on the rubber insert that goes that seals this piece to this piece, getting the 6 screws lined up, and getting these 2 posts in the front, which aren't that big of a deal because you can loosen those. But I mean, it's like a little bit of a magic trick trying to get all that straight. And then they got this screw, which is underneath this air box. So you have to put this air box on first. And then once you do that, you can't access this screw. So it's like sort of a juggling act to be able to get the fasteners in and get everything together at the same time. So it's kind of weird. It's a little different than the Jeep Wrangler setup. So we're getting there. And like I said, I blew everything out, and I did find some oil in the valley down here. Hopefully that's from the valve cover gasket just leaking down in there and not from this oil cooler, because these oil coolers are known to leak and then kind of fill up the valley of the engine and then kind of leak out the back. But this one looks like it's been replaced. Hopefully it's not leaking and it was just the valve cover leaking into the valley. So if that's leaking, they'll know eventually, but hopefully it's just a valve cover. We'll see. Okay, so pretty much the last thing I did here is go through and tighten everything up, make sure all the clamps are tight, make sure the connections are good, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. And then we're going to fire it up, let it warm up, make sure it's not leaking, and be good to go. Okay, so we still have some oil burning off from before, so that's normal. A little bit of residue here and there, expect that to happen. But I don't see any new leaks. You can see this spot right here, no new oil there, no fresh oil coming down. I mean, it could have probably cleaned this off. That's pretty well soaked. I don't even know if I could clean that off, honestly. Just see if clean a little spot there just to make sure there's no fresh oil. And you can kind of see it's just old residue burning off. We'll give it a few minutes and make sure there's no fresh oil popping down. I don't see any, so I think we're good. All right, so it looks like the engine's sealed back up. Just a little bit of smoke coming off the exhaust manifold from the oil before. Otherwise, there's no new oil leaks, and it looks like mission accomplished. So, thanks for watching Guitars and Cars. See you next time. Oh, I got some oil on my face? Every time.